Dear ladies and gentlemen, I greet all of you at the 4th International Symposium on Computer Science, Digital Economy and Intelligent Systems. I'm senior researcher of the Institute of Information Technology. My presentation is about the problems and prospects for minority languages in the age of Industry 4.0. The ongoing process of globalization has a negative impact on the viability of the languages and cultures of national minorities. This necessitates sociolinguistics research to develop strategies for the protection of linguistic diversity as a cultural heritage of mankind. Today, new technologies allow the creation of digital functional tools and the introduction of languages into the digital space much faster and more efficiently than decades ago. However, despite the technological possibilities available, the main issue in the period of industrial progress and the age of Industry 4.0 will be the need for minority languages as participants in the new type of communication. In such a period, it's important to protect national languages, especially the languages of national minorities, to prevent their disappearance and to resolve certain issues in this field. The main objectives of this study are to identify threats to national languages, including the languages of national minorities in the modern era of rapid globalization and the influence of information and communication technologies, and to develop appropriate proposals and recommendations. In this regard, the necessity of studying languages in the sociolinguistics aspect is substantiated, and the factors determining the demographic power of languages are identified. Identification of languages in the virtual space is assessed as one of the key issues in the protection and development of national languages. The state and level of use of languages in this environment are analyzed. Possible approaches to solving the problem of protecting national minority languages in the context of Industry 4.0 are considered. The state, geography, and demography of the languages of national minorities in Azerbaijan, the level of their use was analyzed, and the need to create artificial intellectual models of languages was substantiated. Suggestions and recommendations were made on this use, on its use, development, and solution of the other problems of languages of national minorities. Networks. At the International Conference on the topic Multicultural Perspectives on Priority Global Issues, held as a part of the G20 Interreligious Forum in Baku, in May 2022, it was noted that one of the main reasons ensuring the triumph of multiculturalism in Azerbaijan today is that the people, a nation for many years, for centuries, live by these ideas and educate their representatives in this spirit. The change in technology associated with the process of globalization in the world, television, radio, satellites, the internet, and other media have an impact on multilingualism and the use of most languages in general. Due to these tools, languages are spread far beyond the traditional domain. However, since this process is going on in all languages, there is a great danger of disappearance of languages that are poorly used in the virtual space. About 43% of all languages and dialects in the world do not have a written language. This is another major barrier to their protection in the digital world, where much of the information is in the text form. The UNESCO State of the World's Languages 2021 report, which aims to develop a global agenda for measuring linguistic diversity, also contains the results of a new in-depth study of the world's linguistic diversity. This is a complete database of all world languages, including sign language. Today, more than 1,500,000,000 people in the world speak English. This is about 20% of all people on Earth. There are currently 4.2 billion social media users worldwide. It means more than 53% of the world's population. On average, more than 1.3 million new users join social networks every day, which corresponds to 15 new users per second. The number of active users of the social network in Azerbaijan is 4.3 million people. This is 42.2% of the population. Endangered languages are threatened not only by the decline in the number of native speakers, but also by technological systems that favor the world's most widely used languages. There are several examples of the use of artificial intelligence to document and process and audio recordings of endangered local languages. To solve this problem, CoEDL partnered with Google in 2017 to develop machine learning technology for processing audio recordings. Today, this information has been used to develop artificial intelligence models for 12 Australian endangered languages. While artificial intelligence and other exponential technologies provide opportunities for language preservation, there are certain challenges in using these technologies to bring languages to life with their meanings. The interconnection of all languages of the world is a kind of lingual sphere on a planetary scale. The Linguosphere Observatory is a non-profit transnational research network that collects, studies, classifies, edits, and distributes the languages of the world's human populations and linguistic communities. The Linguosphere Framework, a query system covering all languages, was published in the Linguosphere Register in 2000 and improved in 2010. It includes a flexible coding formula that aims to fit every language and dialect into the world's set of living and written languages. One of the main issues in the field of language protection is the documentation of languages. The main subject of language documentation is the collection of primary data on poorly studied languages into a single electronic source. Therefore, the main task facing researchers now is to collect as much as possible materials related to these languages in electronic resources, preserve them, and pass them on to future generations. Linguistic corporal or national language corporations are one of the main tools for placing and using language materials on the internet. The British National Corpus is the most widely used information retrieval system. The British National Corpus collects written and oral texts of various types from the middle and late 20th century in electronic form. World Network for Linguistic Diversity, MAAYA, World Network for Linguistic Diversity, was established in 2005 by a group participated in the summit on the information society. Today, it has 101 members from 34 countries on 4 continents, of which 41 are institutional members. These networks aims to provide equal access to all languages in cyberspace. It should be noted that for the protection and development of the Azerbaijani language, as well as the languages of minorities, a conceptual model of the system of national language services has been developed. Language of national minorities in the context of Industry 4.0. Now the Internet of Things is penetrating people's daily lives and becoming part of production processes. However, it's not difficult to assume that language as a means of communication, human to human, human to machine communication, will have new features that can provide a continuous flow of information for Industry 1.0 participants. In this regard, the question arises about the prospects for regional, underused, and other languages of national minorities. Today, the creation of dictionaries, translation programs, operating systems, and websites in any language is a process supported by automated systems. It is very dynamic. However, despite the technological possibilities, the main issue in the period of industrial progress towards Industry 4.0 will be the need for minority languages as participants in a new type of communication. In this context, in order to preserve the regional languages, the internal motivation of an ethnic group to use their native language comes to the fore, which is in the area of Industry 4.0 will not depend on any social and economic factors, but only on the level of national ethnic self-consciousness. As a result of the studies carried out in this field, in the protection and development of the languages of national minorities, it was found out that it's necessary to document and identify minority languages in the virtual space. The protection of national minority languages depends on the level of national identity. It's necessary to increase the internal and external motivation to master and use the languages of national minorities and develop effective mechanisms in this direction. New technologies create new opportunities for regional languages to develop their functionality, and the introduction of any languages into digital cyberspace is technologically easy to implement today. The state and level of use of languages of national minorities living in Azerbaijan was analyzed, and it was determined that the policy of multiculturalism pursued in the country ensures the protection of the ethno-cultural values of these minorities. For the protection and development of minority languages, the following are recommended. Determine the correct language policy for the use, application, protection, and development of the national language, as well as the languages of national minorities. Take comprehensive conceptual measures to minimize the negative impact of global trends on the language. Develop programs and textbooks, teaching aids, recommendation aimed at the effective organization of teaching children of minorities and ethnic groups in their native languages. Use capabilities of e-government platform to document the languages of national minorities living in the country. Develop artificial intelligence models of national minority languages for documenting. Create a database of the national languages to connect the system of national language services. Includes data analysis, artificial intelligence tools, machine learning, for example, and other opportunities on the way to Industry 4.0 in the process of assessing the functional state of minority languages. Thank you very much for your attention.